Because of the nature of some of the projects that you've done, as you just mentioned, as I said, Syria, there's Belarus as well, and you've explained why those came to you. But I think, again, as an outward perspective, those projects could be seen as somewhat political. Was that your intention? Or well, I mean, from your point of view, what sort of why did those come up, and do you think they are political, and is that an error to see them that way?
I wanted to be more a journalist. Actually, this I followed the idea of being a journalist with my art came through talks and through ideas, and it was in the early stages of newspapers. There was a lot of this. So basically, people coming, going somewhere, and painting things that they see, and that would be then as photos. So a journalist painter was a war painters. Yeah, that's kind of a profession that really fascinated me, and that came with the idea of, again, closing the gap or just making art serve. So the main idea was behind it. Just go and ask if is it like that? Is it what I want? Is it you talked about Belarus, so there I worked with the LGBT community, and the idea was for me was not come and say to the Belarusian general public, you are bad because you're treating your gay community bad. It was, do you really want to do that, or how do you want to do that? Because then I don't come as a preacher, as the white, the Westerner, puffy Swiss guy, and liberal, and because then I come in and ask, is there a way that this is how you want to see? And the same thing was in basically this leads to all the projects. So it's basically the idea: is this how we want? Is this how I see? So it's raising questions, and I know that raising questions can be very, very political. But I'm not. I really would like to say that I don't want to impose any ideas with it. I just want to state a fact and then make you make a decision with it. So it's the same thing with the Syrian project was that I portrait children there, and then I portrait children here, and I just mixed the portraits. And you can decide what you want to do with it. You as basically I just paint children. Again, it's basically ink and paper. We make the story, and we can decide how we impose it and how we do it and how we see it. It's this follows the idea basically. It's yeah. So political, I don't.
I think it's clear that, as I said, you're sort of telling a story within those projects. And I think, as you said, it's whether people consider it political or not is perhaps up to them. So that wasn't I think you kind of said it quite well. It's more a journalistic approach rather than a political approach.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I can, and and then it takes really another life. It's out of my responsibility. Of course, I take responsibility to the project, but after that, it's out of my. I can just give an example from the Lipstick Leaders project, which actually started with asking. The question for me was, is this how does leadership look like? I chose women because I didn't see any. I didn't see any. So, and I knew a lot of women leaders, so I thought, okay, let's just use that. And then it took a total different life, and had a total different vision. It created a total different path of its own. But the main idea was to ask, is this leadership? This is how does leadership look like? And I used the contradiction between femininity and the old way of looking at leadership. So very stern, very not smiling, not too communicative, and and the idea that we try and look at women a little bit different in general. Yes, we're talking very general. So that I played with this, and that, well, it took it life of its own. But for a lot of people, it's funny. So a lot of people who are near me, they totally understood what I'm doing in a different way. So they totally understood the original path, and they came and they said, "But you, what? Okay." So, and to a certain way, just I think to myself. So for a lot of people, the matter that the women are not smiling on the paintings, on the drawings, that's really like, oh, why in the painting? And I always said leadership is hard, and it's something that we have to look at. That leadership is not easy, and there's different. There's like, yeah. Did I answer you?